John, a lot of people don't know this. I don't know if you know this or not either. We're getting a little off topic, but it's very, very interesting. Um, when Vince McMahon told me that he was in business with ECW, okay?
Yep.
He explained to me, Vince, here's the deal. If we got wrestlers that maybe aren't getting over, that maybe need a little more seasoning, we're going to send them to ECW. Meanwhile, if you see somebody on the ECW show that you want, you just let me and I'll tell Paul Lee, and then he'll send them over to us. Well, bro, what happened was Vince didn't watch ECW. He didn't know anybody on the show.
Right.
So I watched some ECW, and when I saw somebody that I thought would be over huge on the big stage, I would tell Vince, we need so-and-so. You know, one of those people were the Dudleys. We need the Dudleys on our show. So, bro, Vince went to, after Vince had already given Heyman WWE talent, Vince went to Heyman and said, we want the Dudleys. Freaking Paul comes back and tells Vince they weren't interested in coming to the WWE. And, bro, I knew that was absolute bullshit. Yeah, bro, who doesn't want to go from a bingo hall to Madison Square Garden? I knew Paul Lee was full of shit. This is my heat with Paul Lee to this day. To this day, bro, because he was blocking those guys from making a hell of a lot more money at the WWE. So I said to Vince, that's absolute bullshit. Bro, Blackjack Brown called me because Bubba called him and said, no, we want to come. So Blackjack Brown, Bubba called Blackjack. Blackjack called me and smartened me up. He said, no, bro, they want to come to the WWE. So once I got the phone call from Blackjack, I set up the meeting with Vince and Bubba and Devon for the very, very first time, which I was a part of. But that's where my heat with Paul Lee is, bro, because every time it was time for him to send somebody over, he would say they weren't interested. And he wasn't, I wasn't pissed off because he was saying they weren't interested. He was costing them money. Yeah. He was costing these guys an opportunity to make a hell of a lot more money to keep them at ECW. And that's where my heat with Paul Lee originated.
Now, Blackjack, obviously, I mean, that's a huge thing. He's getting the Dudleys kind of in the door. You knew them from Johnny Rodz, right?
No, I just knew them from TV. I knew them from TV.
Okay.
And bro, the next guy was Taz. Taz was the next guy that called me personally. Once they started bypassing Paul and calling me, that's when they started coming in the WWE.
So did you watch a lot of ECW? I thought you didn't watch a lot of ECW.
Bro, honestly, I didn't watch a lot. But when I would watch and somebody would catch my eye, that's when I would tell Vince. Okay. I am not kidding you. I think it used to be on the old Nashville network. Right?
Yep.
Bro, I'm not lying to you, John. I probably watched at the max, I would say 5 episodes.
Wow, that's
of
it.
ECW. Okay. At the max, that's how much I probably watched. Like, bro, I wasn't familiar with Taz till he called me. I really hadn't seen Taz. I didn't know what Taz did. Then Taz called me. I saw the Dudleys on there for the first time. I fell in love with Bubba's stuttering. I like that. And then I remember seeing when everybody was throwing their heads in the ring. And I said to Vince, bro, you got to get Al Snow back here. He's got a new act. It's over huge. But yeah, bro, I probably saw at a max maybe 5 shows on the old TNN.